What can be said then of the culture and society of the Rat Man, given their psychology of total self-interest and constant hunger? In short, the Skaven life is one of constant warfare. Just as they constantly rise against men and dwarfs to seek their basic needs for food and space, they also constantly fight amongst themselves to ensure the greatest access and control over these resources. In the Skaven world, not unlike our own, the strongest eats the best portion, and every other rat plots to take that portion for himself.
Skaven society is often divided between two types of social system, which is separated in a caste system and a clan hierarchy. The caste system focuses heavily on the colour of a Skaven's fur, which denotes the Skaven as being assigned a particular role in society from birth. Those born with horns or grey or white fur are considered chosen of the horned rat, and thus presented the priest or religious caste of the Under Empire. Due to their influential and political power, they are also the most obvious leaders amongst Skaven groups. Those born without horns, but white or grey fur, are typically taken to be trained as the albino storm vermin guard of the Council of 13. Below the priestly caste, and their bodyguard, is the militaristic warrior caste that are composed almost exclusively of black-furred Skaven. Black fur is considered the mark of a killer, and a Skaven of that colour is therefore given a position in society that focuses heavily on training these individuals into hardened warriors. In certain cases, a Skaven who does not possess black fur can still join if he can prove to be just as effective a warrior as any other black-furred Skaven. Such situations nevertheless ensure that a Skaven would at least dye their fur black, so as to keep up their image as elite warriors. Below the warrior castes is the general population of brown-furred Skaven. The brown-furred Skaven form the very foundations of Skaven society, making them the most diverse in terms of profession, quality of life, and social status. Being outside the caste system, the brown-furred Skaven are often divided further into certain sects that focus on professions such as trading, building, and the crafting of weapons and goods. All of these groupings allow the Skaven to apply their urge for social climbing on a much larger scale, each sect battling for supremacy over the other, just as each Skaven battles for supremacy within his sect. Outright warfare between these groups is not as common as many would think, simply because the priest caste often moderates the hostilities between factions, by use of terror and cruelty, of course. In their case, the priest caste wants to ensure full control over the Under Empire in its entirety, and without some form of unity, this empire cannot truly exist. Outside the caste system, Skaven society is usually dominated by a treacherous clan-based hierarchy, from which Warlord Clans make up the bulk of the ever-growing population of male ratmen. These militaristic clans, known as the Warlord Clans, form a hierarchy defined by the law of the strongest ruling over the weakest. At the top of this hierarchy is the Warlord, hence its name, who is supposed to be the strongest and most cunning individual within the entire clan. These warlords are the official and tyrannical rulers of the Skaven clans, whose rule is both harsh and absolute, at least until they are replaced. Below the warlord is the warrior caste, which as expected compose of the black-furred Skaven, trained as elite warriors. As befit their prestigious position, these Skaven are given the best the clan has to offer, which often includes adequate and regular meals, personal lodgings, the best weapons and armour, and the rights to breed with the clan's female Skaven, known simply as breeders. At the base of this pyramid hierarchy, the foundation on which all society is built around is the working class, insignificant and expendable slaves or workers. Slaves and workers can be of varying races or cultures, and are often prisoners of war or members of a rival clan that have been subjugated into submission after a military excursion. Within this harsh reality, the concept of life and individual freedom are next to worthless within clan society. Survival is considered paramount to the individual, and so is the ascension of social status. Although they rarely admit it, nearly all Skaven view all clanmates as potential enemies. Skaven who occupy positions of power or authority are envied for their power, while those Skaven who served in lesser roles are constantly suspected of treachery. The daily clan life of the Skaven is often marked by continuous fights and power struggles for supremacy. A Skaven's life is a lawless and miserable world where the weak are killed, and the strong survive, provided they can constantly watch their backs against rivals. Amongst their kind, backstabbing and betrayals are not considered dishonourable behaviour, but simply the most traditional way to advance in society. As a result, this unstable system has given rise to extremely high levels of paranoia in nearly all Skaven leaders within all levels of society. All Skaven know their status within the clan, but the positions between them can change rapidly. A few rapid betrayals or a single well-given stab in the back can convert a lowly soldier to the position of poor leader, even before the body of his victim has dropped. In the same vein, it can be said that a Skaven warlord or chieftain will always and forever be only a stab away from his subordinates. Everyday life at all levels of Skaven society is marked by this constant pushing and nudging in relations of power, as each individual is conspiring day and night to improve their personal reputation and status, or undermining others amongst his group. Alliances are created, broken, and then reformed constantly as a consequence. There is not even equality between individuals of the same social status, as there will always be someone in the group who is considered ahead of the other. Each Skaven scrutinises all other pack members within the group, looking for any weaknesses that can be used against them, and as a result, often be scrutinised by the former also. At all levels of the pyramid, but especially in the lower classes, the power struggles often take the form of direct physical confrontations. Most Skaven suffer terrible scars from these battles, as many may often lose an eye or an ear as a mark of the brutality. A crippled Skaven resulting in one of these confrontations usually won't last long, and will eventually be eaten by the more desperate of their kind. If the loser of such a savage engagement does not get killed instantly, the cheering masses around will pounce on him to disembowel and devour him in his weakened state. In the Skaven case, a crippled clansman is simply a liability and will be eaten for food. All clans constantly fluctuate in the number of members they currently have. This stems mostly from the fact that Skaven population numbers often increase exponentially during times when food is plentiful, and drastically crunch downwards during times of starvation or war. At its greatest extent, a warlord Skaven has the power and influence to control a land with hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of individuals within the clan, spread across many dens and underground burrows, all across their occupied territories. The exact number of the different clans that are scattered throughout the Under Empire is near uncountable, due to the fact that rival clans will constantly conquer, perhaps even destroy each other, in an often short amount of time. Possible numbers for a single clan might be around the tens of thousands, but the precise number changes almost daily, as the largest and most powerful warlord clans would pursue and destroy the minor clans, absorbing their members as warriors or slaves, or simply feasting on the survivors. Clans growing too fast or too slow will eventually lead to internal rivalries, which could be the result of the warlord not exerting enough authority on his subordinates. This will eventually lead to small-scale civil wars between small factions within the clan.
Most precious of all substances, the pulse of our life. If the horned rat is our father, then surely warpstone is our mother. Its uses are infinite. Like the heart of an endless fire it is. Even the smallest of pieces will continue to give power indefinitely, allowing many of our devices to become portable. Warpstone fire can not only consume a substance, but actually change its structure to far more than just burned due to its exposure to holy flames. Weapons made from warpstone produce their own poison. A warpstone charm brings luck, changing what was to be to what might have been, with none the wiser. So where does it come from? They are among the more superstitious of our folk, and the new foolish grey seers that believe warpstone is the leavings of the horned rat. The leavings! I subscribe to the secular view, that it is chunks of the dark moon, Morskrit, which has managed to gift us with pieces of its essence. Dangerous it is to touch warpstone often. But that's what slaves are for, yes?
The basic economic system of the Skaven is extremely simple. The strongest take anything they want. Wherever a plunder is taken, the warlord chieftain or sorcerer who directs the raiding force takes what they choose first, and then the other warriors will pick what they want, or leave them be. The food, however, is distributed a little more evenly. The most powerful clan warriors have the best weapons and food, plus the ability to have their own den in the clan and mate to create their own litters. The exchange of large quantities of arms and slaves between different clans is common. However, if there's really a form of currency within the Skaven economic system, it would most likely be the distribution and use of warpstone, also called witchstone or wordstone. This material is used for any public or private commercial activity within the clan in small amounts, complementing the basic economic system that is needed to run the clan functionally. In larger quantities, this material is often exchanged between clans for food, slaves, weapons, or to hire out mercenary forces for their wars. It is also valuable when close diplomatic and political dealings are made between chiefs or political leaders. If a Skaven with considerable wealth and talented bartering wishes, he may create and own a small shop, containing goods that either he or his clan have bred, grown or created for the purpose of selling to the highest bidder. Most of these shops follow a very competitive and dangerous monopoly, just like the Skaven and their clans. Each shop would try their best to outdo the competition, destroying, assassinating, or even subduing rivals in the hopes of gaining more profit and influence within the proximity of their store. A good majority of these shops are owned and administered by one of the two great clans, Moulder and Scryer. These clan-owned shops sell goods that the clan specializes in creating, such as weapons and war beasts that are in high demand. Although owned by a clan, the owners of these shops do not always have to be a member of that clan, but rather any Skaven gifted at the skills of bartering. These shopkeepers can sometimes be entirely independent, with some buying the goods from the clans for a cheap price, and then selling them at higher value to other gullible Skaven customers. As such, some are considerably wealthy and well-fed, often sporting large guts as signs of their affluence.